Thank you, everybody, for coming to the College Football Betting with Aaron Torres YouTube channel. Before we get to the video that you came here for, if you could do me one quick favor, just click that subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow. I appreciate it more than you know. Also, if you want to, click the little bell notification so you know anytime any of our previews go live. We appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. College Game Day is instead going to the top 20 matchup that no one could have seen coming a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. A game that's also a revenge game all of a sudden. We are talking about Vandy at Alabama in the Circa Sportsbook. Alabama is a 10.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 57. First of all, as I just mentioned, great job on Vandy. We'll get into how they've gotten here. Also a revenge game because this was a game that Alabama lost last year. So there's a lot at stake in this game. Speaking of a lot at stake, let me go ahead and do the mea culpa, however you say it. I was wrong on Bama. If you listen to this show or anything that I do or follow me on Instagram or wherever you consume anything in the Torres ecosystem, you know that I picked Georgia to win that game last Saturday. And what was interesting to me, it wasn't just that Alabama beat Georgia. It was that there was never really a moment, in my opinion, and people may disagree, but that Alabama wasn't in control. And I don't know that there was ever a moment where I really felt like Georgia was going to win the game. Georgia was always on the precipice. Don't get me wrong. There was never a spot where you felt like, okay, Alabama's about to blow this thing open. But this was a game that start to finish, Alabama had the lead. And I think as importantly, what was the stat? 72 straight games where Georgia had a lead at some point prior to Alabama. But then also, I think what was important was every time that Georgia had a counterpunch, every time that Bama punched and Georgia had the counterpunch, Alabama had the counter to the counter. That was what the most impressive thing was to me, is that Georgia kept trying to get up off the mat and Alabama would not let them. And frankly, that's the inverse. That's the opposite of kind of what we've seen in the Kalen DeBoer era, is that if you punch Alabama first, they're going to stagger and they might not get back up. Well, Alabama, every time Georgia tried to go for that blow to kind of stagger them, Alabama had the answer. The famous Caden Proctor play right before the half, a couple big plays from Ty Simpson, whatever, always had the answer. Speaking of Ty Simpson, we got to give this man his flowers. I was thinking about this. I remember during the preseason, first of all, I was one of many. I'm not going to take a victory lap for this because I'm not the only one who said it. But I said, I really do think that Ty Simpson might just be a better quarterback for this specific system at Alabama than Jalen Milroe was a year ago. Well, fast forward again, I was thinking about this during the week. Do you remember when Ryan Grubb, when they named Ty Simpson the starter, and Ryan Grubb was basically like, I don't think he's thrown an interception all fall camp. I don't even know how many balls have hit the ground. Is that kind of what we're seeing from Ty Simpson this season? On the year, 69% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions from Ty Simpson. Last week, 24 of 38, 2 touchdowns. You go on and on down the list, 276 yards. And what I'm so impressed by is a couple things. One, the emergence of all these receivers. I mean, listen, every game it's seemingly a new guy. For a long time, we thought it was Ryan Williams. Then Ryan Williams, we kind of realized that maybe Jeremy Bernard's the guy that we really need to focus on. Well, last week it was Isaiah Horton, 5 catches, 65 yards, and 1 touchdown. Georgia was able to limit Jeremy Bernard, but Isaiah Horton stepped up. Ryan Williams, to his credit, has quietly bounced back nicely after the Florida State game. And then I think as importantly, the run game just looked better with Jam Miller. Last year, he was out those first 3 games. He comes back off of the bye, leads Alabama in rushing, 16 carries, 46 yards, and he's just a nice compliment to Kevin Riley and all of those other guys. As far as Vanderbilt is concerned, man, oh man, listen, let me go ahead. I just mentioned all of the ways that I was wrong on Alabama. I've been just as wrong on Vandy, right? Because I thought last year, it's not that we spent too much time talking about the Alabama upset. That's not what I'm saying. It's actually the opposite. Like, it was a historic upset. We celebrated it in the moment. But I remember saying all offseason, it's like, okay, everyone loves Vandy so much, but what was the next best win for Vandy? They go 6-6. second best win, frankly, was probably against an Auburn team that did not make a bowl game. And so it was hard for me to get fired up about Vandy coming into this year. But you look at what they've done, and it's just absolutely incredible. 45-3 win over Charleston Southern. Okay, what does that mean? You go to Virginia Tech, you destroy them to the point that they fire the coach a couple days later. South Carolina, okay, you beat Virginia Tech, but maybe they just think you go to South Carolina, dominate them. Then you put up 70 on Georgia State. Then you put up 55 on Utah State, and all of a sudden you come into this game with a 5-0 record. You're dominating. You're playing really well. Very much a college football playoff contender. And what I think is as important, right? What did I just say? You could kind of talk your way around, well, Virginia Tech fired their coach. Maybe they're not that good. Well, South Carolina, maybe this, maybe that. Well, a couple things. One, those are two pretty good defenses that you basically move the ball at will against. Virginia Tech, about a middle of the pack defense nationally. You tallied 490 yards and 44 points on the road against them. And then South Carolina, 46th nationally in total defense, 323 yards and 31 points in that game. So you're moving the ball on good, maybe not elite defenses, but certainly good. And so because of it, I don't think you're going to slow down in this game. And so as we dive in, let's get to my official pick. And I'll be honest, again, Circa Sportsbook, Alabama is a 10.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 57. Some other sportsbook, the number is actually coming down. I saw at other sportsbooks, it's down to about 55.5 or so. I feel opposite. I actually like the over in this game of 57. That is my official Circa Sportsbook pick. Why do I like the over in this game? Well, first of all, why I like the over. A couple things. One, listen, we have to give credit to Bama for what they've done, how they've bounced back, all that good stuff, right? Conversely, what I will say is we've seen them now slay a lot of demons. They couldn't win on the road. They go to Georgia, win on the road. They couldn't, whatever. Think about all the things that we were saying about Alabama after the Florida State game. The one thing they still haven't proven to me, they seem to struggle with quarterbacks that can make plays with their feet. You go back to last year, Diego Pavia had no answer for him. Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma had no answer for him. This year, Tommy Castellanos, Florida State, had no answer for him. And so I look at Diego Pavia and I just say, if he did it last year, if he's done it against everybody, I don't know why I'm supposed to believe this is somehow going to be different. And this is the type of quarterback that Alabama has struggled with. I think I even talked about it with the Alabama-Georgia game last week of, the only concern that I had about Alabama against Georgia was the reality that, Gunnar Stockton's not a super mobile quarterback, and Alabama has had success against those guys. Well, who they have not had success against is a guy like Diego Pavia, and Diego Pavia specifically. And so why I bring it up, to me, I think Alabama will be able to move the ball in this, or I think Vandy will be able to move the ball in this game, even though it's a quote-unquote revenge game, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I think what's also worth noting is when you go back to last week, Alabama-Georgia, Alabama gets the win, and they deserve all the flowers that they've gotten, including from me. But let's not forget that Georgia rushed for 227 yards and almost 7 yards per carry in that game. And I think Vandy's going to be able to move the ball on the ground. Conversely, the one thing that Vandy has not really been able to do is stop people through the air. Defensively, Vandy is 55th in the country. Is that right? Let me see here if I can find it really quickly. I have it in my notes somewhere. Stay with me, people. Let's see. Vandy, they are 55th in the country in pass defense, okay? Not good, not bad. It's just kind of in the middle. Here, and what you could also argue, by the way, they fall down, big margins, teams start passing. This is the part that would concern me a little bit if I was a better of Vandy's in this game or an under better, is that they have given up about 66% completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks, which is 105th in the country. So 55th nationally in pass defense, but about 105th in the country in opposing pass completion percentage. In other words, guys are completing a ton of passes at a high percentage against them. That's bad news against Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is accurate. He gets the ball out quick. He's smart with where he throws the ball to. And I think they're going to be able to go up and down the field on this Vandy defense. And so ultimately, I think these are two good teams. I think these are, frankly, maybe two college football playoff teams. But I also think these are two defenses that are not really built to stop the other. Alabama has struggled to stop running quarterbacks. Vanderbilt has struggled to stop accurate quarterbacks. Bring it up. Final score. I think Alabama wins. I'll say something in the neighborhood of 38-28, something like that, 38-31. But I think the over of 57 is the best bet. And I think more specifically, it's a number that I just feel very comfortable saying. Again, the over-under is 57 in the Circus Sportsbook. Alabama Vandy over. That is one of my favorite bets of the week. Alabama Vandy over 57.